Hey everybody, it's Zertek here once again with a Ballistic Overkill update video. Today we have the 1.1.4 update, and it's revolving around a whole bunch of new weapons, a lot of weapon balance, class rebalance, and a little bit of extra options for a lot of the people here that have a little bit of difficulty. I'll go into a little bit that later, but I'll start off with some of the new weapons. We have the Felon, and we have the Whirlwinds. So they are very interesting weapons, I could tell you, that it makes it more of an assault class and it makes him more diverse, but he also lost the ability of sprinting, makes him invisible towards the map. So he's going to be a little bit more of a different playstyle, but he'll still have a good arsenal of weapons. Then for the Vanguard, we got new weapons, and we have the Executioner and the Heavy Metal. I think these are both great additions to the Vanguard, and they are really strong, I can tell you guys that. For the Wraith, he was basically just nerfed a little bit for the health, but he had other slight improvements and nerfs to the sniper rifles or the SMGs that he has, so on. Shadow was a little bit nerfed as well in respect of the course Scorpion being a little bit too strong, but they also buffed the other machine pistols to replace that. So it's a little bit more even now with machine pistols. And we have the Grenadier that was altered in one of his skills. We have the grenade launchers being a little bit more nerfed, but to benefit the on-hit projectiles hitting people, therefore preventing, the spam. And then we also got the new class. We got the tank right back in, and he has a very good diversity of new weapons. We have the assault rifle, only one assault rifle right now, while we have another shotgun down here and 4 LMGs. I will go into depth on how I feel about these weapons later on. And then we have some new sidearms as well. We got the Mammoth, Rhino, and the Agent, which are really interesting to use. I can tell you there is one really good weapon in here that's kind of not exactly known that's going to be good. Then we have these new skills. I would highly recommend you guys actually look at these in your spare time, because some of these weapons, skills, are very... I think some of these are better than others. And you can see that I have toughness and well prepared, but I have those just because that the tank actually needs health, but I found out that the tank isn't really good for the survivability of always regenning. The Vanguard actually has that. Thing is, the Vanguard was also nerfed to where he doesn't get 10% health instantly when he kills somebody. It's more 2.5 per 2.5% health per second on kill, and it lasts for 4 seconds, basically regenning the same amount you would get when you would get the 10%. So not too bad. So after all these classes here, we have the new options that they added, and I really appreciate that they did this. So we're going to controls, and they finally added the FOV. I found myself comfortable at an 80 FOV. I would not recommend anything below 70, and probably not anything above 90. You start getting really fish-eyed around there, but you still have the good amount of view. And we also have aiming sensitivity, and it really helps for those sniper rifles where you can't really you don't really have good aiming sensitivity, but it changes with the new aim sensitivity. The only flaw to it is it affects all other weapons as well. So you could be really sensitive with something like the interdiction, where you can flick shot super easy, but it's going to come with a flaw of now your SMGs or machine pistols or whatever, it's going to be really hard to aim down the sights with them because they're going to be extremely sensitive. So take that as you will. And I also finally turned off the toggle for aiming, and it feels really comfortable with that. So I will see you guys in game. Alright, so we're going to start this off with showing off the Executioner. It's really strong. I feel like it's the new strife of the Vanguard. I tested it out on one of my friends. Shout out to Skyrunes. And it's really strong, and it's pretty accurate. I would say that I would consider this if you're going more close range compared to the Strife, where it's going to be longer range and it's going to be harder to actually, zoom in without the sights overlooking the entire screen. Then we also have the Heavy Metal. that they added in. The hipfire is actually pretty accurate, and the long range is also pretty accurate with the aim down the sights. And next we have the Felon here. The Berserker got the new weapon here. It works pretty well and extremely fast. I would compare it to something along the lines of one of his SMGs that he has. Pretty nice. And next he also got the Whirlwinds. So it just basically diversifies himself a little bit more, and they're really fast shooting. Good. Next we have the Chainsaw, which is still pretty ridiculous. They actually have it, the LMGs, where you can't actually hip fire with them anymore. It's pretty unviable with how much spread they actually have now. But instead, they have really good aim down the sights accuracy. Thing is that it's not entirely viable for long range fire, and it's going to be more for close quarters, so really pick and choose where you're going to be firing this weapon. It's going to be a lot spammier than it was in free-to-play. And we have the new crosshairs for actual grenade launchers, so you can actually predict where your grenades are going to go. So let's just say I want to have the arrows right there, so aim it just a little bit higher. There you go. And it helps a lot more with predicting where your shots are going to go. So about right there. Pretty decent. And yeah, it's going to get really nasty. Next we have the Mongoose and the Rhino. The Mongoose isn't as good as it was in free-to-play version when we actually had the ability to use it on the Berserker and the Vanguard. It's very weak compared to how it was placed up higher on the shotgun list. And you can see that it is very inaccurate, even if you're holding down the sights. You're going to be having bullets going up. So this is going to be more of a frontal assault weapon. And it has to be really close up to the base. And if you don't, it's going to be having a lot of the spread there. So definitely only use this if you're going to be doing the frontal assault. And you're a lot slower than how we actually were before. So I wouldn't exactly recommend using it. So just precaution. And now we have the Rhino, which is actually reworked. It was more hip fire and you have a single bullet projectile. Now it is actually acts like a shotgun on hip fire. But with aiming down the sights, you have all your shots clumped up. Pretty good shotgun. It's not good for range, but it's pretty fast firing, so take that into consideration. Next we have the Pry Bar. The Pry Bar I have found is to be considerably dangerous. This is extremely accurate, and it is really stupid on how accurate it is and powerful it can be. Found this to be a little bit better than the Hooligan, the Brute, and the Chainsaw, just because of the accuracy and the fire rate. And now we have the Agent, which is the super amazing sidearm that I am talking about here. It does a crazy amount of damage. You could pretty much 3-shot somebody up close, and with the Mammoth and the Rhino, you're going to be 2-shotting people up close. Not as fast firing, but it's really packs a punch. So you could probably compare this to the Blackhawk of how it is power-wise. Okay, time to show off the Bruiser and the Mammoth. So for the Bruiser, it's not the Hooligan anymore. It's definitely the Bruiser. It was taken back from the lesser variants of the Hooligan, like a 1-star, 2-star, those kind of actual guns. So it's very inaccurate, as you can see, very widespread. So this is going to be more of the close range LMG that you're going to be using for kind of just keeping pressure on a base. So Chainsaw and the Pry Bar are going to be a little bit better, especially as the Brute. And then we also have the Mammoth. Mammoth is better compared to the free-to-play variant. Accuracy is a lot better, but still kind of a little bit weak. I would say the Mammoth is better for clumping your shots, but the Mammoth is kind of getting a little bit more spread out there. Still, the Mammoth and the Rhino do about the same 2-shot damage up close, so you won't one-shot somebody if you're up close to somebody hip firing or even aiming down the sights. And lastly, of the LMGs, we have the good old-fashioned Brute. It's not exactly the Brute that we used to know back then, but it is still considerably strong. So when you compare this to the Pry Bar LMG, you have a little bit more fire rate, but you're sacrificing the range, and you're also sacrificing the accuracy. Still, the Brute is very accurate, but it's not as accurate as the Pry Bar, and you're not getting as much as the damage over the range. So, still close quarter gun, but you're going to be shredding people either way. I found that the range and damage is going to be pretty much the same if you're close up with the Pry Bar, around 42 damage. So you're going to still have to be aiming, getting your shots in. Pretty strong. It's on the tank, so you're not going to be regenning as much health as the Vanguard. So it's really odd. You still have more damage resistance with the tank, depending on your actual build, but this is going to be having to refill your health a lot more often than the Vanguard, because he's going to be still having amazing survivability, but you're going to be having amazing amounts of ammo to be using to suppress fire on the enemy team. So, really interesting new tank that we actually have today. So this will conclude the update video of the 1.1.4 update. I like the new update. It's definitely going to be a little bit more interesting now that we actually have LMGs. The Grenadier is a little bit less powerful than he used to, so a little bit less spam. It's going to be a lot more action-based, as in it's a lot more gun reliant compared to how it was so much on grenades, how we actually used to have instant cast grenades in 1.1.2, 1.1.3 changed that, but it's a lot more tactical than it was, and I think this was a great update, how we have new classes, rebalance things, new weapons, and I can't wait for the next update and for you guys to watch that one as well. So anyways, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time.